There's a big difference between doing it because you have to and doing it because you want to.
There sure is. That goes for everything.
Yeah.
But I think especially in art too, right? Because the thing that you're doing, a lot of people don't even consider it a job.
Right. Yeah, that's a huge...
So right off the bat, you're kind of starting from the spot where people think of it as like some life of recreation.
Yeah, that's a huge hiccup, man. Is like, it's as much of a job as it is for anybody doing any job. And because it's art, you get these people that just come in and they just treat it like, oh, well, why are you charging so much for a hobby? You're just doing, and you'll literally get people who are like, you should just do it for free. It's a hobby. I mean, that's a legit thing I'm talking like big name guys in the industry, not just some dude like me. Like I'm talking huge name guys that have established careers in illustration.
Right.
And they'll still get people that'll be like, you should just do it for free. It's a hobby. And it's like, but this guy is a fucking millionaire.
Can I read a mind? They said you're going to do the exposure. Is that what it is?
Yeah. One of the things I was told right away from the very beginning is never do work for free because you devalue your skill set. But the other thing is, and there are exceptions, obviously, like if you do something for charity or do something for a friend and you choose to do that, but never. And the other thing I was told right away is if somebody tells you they can get you exposure, they can't. Because people who can get you exposure know the industry doesn't work like that.
Right.
So that's right off the rip. You just know if somebody says you do it for free, I'll get you good exposure. And that's a big thing on Instagram.
Hey, chill, man. That's how we're gonna get music on the podcast. Okay, is I'm gonna go onto SoundCloud and I'm gonna message people and say, "Hey, man, I dig your song. I want to put it on my podcast. Can we do it on the Natch? Come on."
There's something to be said for exposure if it's the right avenue. Like I don't know. I don't even know what instance it is. I think I'm kind of past that. But if I was just starting out in my career and somebody was like, "Hey, we're going to put you on the cover of this magazine," you'd probably jump at it. But the point I'm trying to make is that doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
Right. And you've also been on cover of magazines.
Yeah.
So the experiential. Okay. Yeah. Right. There you go. There's a time in your life when you do things for the experience so that you know how to react next time and you know what it's about. And it's worth it still to you for the experience when you're younger. That's the way you say it to yourself.
Yeah. And
but that glimmer's gone when you're older. You've already been there. You've been on the cover.
There's not a lot of times that's going to happen where the lesson that you learn is I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
That's typically the lesson you learn in that situation is I shouldn't have done that. And that's one of the things too is why I'm doing this kind of stuff is because for a lot of self-taught guys, the only way you learn is through that experience of getting screwed over time and time again before you learn not to do it, Right. Because, even the school I went to, they don't teach you any business. There was never business discussions brought up unless I was engaging another teacher there because I've been a professional. But a lot of these students, they're not, and they're never taught anything about business. I helped one girl negotiate her contract, because they're never taught that. It's just, we're teaching you art. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of institutions that'll teach you anything about the business side of it. It's trial and error. And I think that's a lot of the reason why, one, artists don't know what to charge. Two, they don't stick to it when they do start charging. And, there's a whole lot of more than just, there's no point in really counting it off. But, if you don't know the business side of it, then how do you know what you're worth? How do you know what the market is? How do you know what to charge? How do you, know how to approach people? Like one of the things that a lot of companies will do is they'll ask you, if you're trying to get a salary studio job, they'll ask you, how much are you looking to get paid? You never answer that question because you'll shoot yourself in the foot because every artist devalues themselves. You always say, well, how much are you willing to give me? And that's where the negotiation starts. But you're not taught this kind of stuff. And so you go in and you think like, oh, geez, I really want this job. I need $50,000 to make it, a year, but I'm afraid they won't give me that. So I'll ask for 40. And then you go in and the guy would have given you 77, it's just, you shot yourself in the foot. So you just go in right away. And the thing is this is your livelihood. It's how you're going to earn a living. It's how you're going to pay your bills. Nobody's going to be offended by you asking, how much are you willing to pay me? That's the thing. Everybody's always afraid I'm going to piss him off and lose the job.
And another way you can say it is, what's the range for people in this kind of position? You know, maybe you don't pin them down, and then you can at least see, hey, this is what right now, according to this guy who's offering me this job, here's the market rates. Now, how far am I willing to push the line?
There is that, but I mean, the way that I learned what you could charge was, as far as studio jobs went, that was trial and error. But I got into some good studios with some honest people right away and kind of figured out what the rate was. But as far as what you can charge per piece, I would look at my stuff, decide.
You look at what?
My pieces, my paintings, my illustrations, whatever I was trying to sell at that time. And I would find another artist who was working as a professional and had a name of some kind. And I would call them, see how much they charge per piece. But the idea behind that was I go, well, I think my stuff's on par with this guy. So
what are the rates like?
Yeah, what's he getting away with charging?
You're benchmarking.
Yeah, and you do that to 4 or 5 people, and you kind of get a range, and then you sort of place yourself wherever you feel comfortable in that range. And if you think like I leveled up a little bit, this last year, then you kind of reassess what you're at. You kind of look at other guys, and you have to be able to do this unbiased. And if you can't, then you need a circle of people who have better eyes than you. And you could say, hey, man, where would you put me at? And there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to dodge that question, but you'll find some dudes that'll help you out.
Do you think nowadays you could, maybe when you needed to do that, you had to kind of be on the sneak a little bit about it? Do you think now people would be more open to you just reach out and saying, hey, I'm an artist, but I'm taking a step into this world.
No,
I don't really know.
No,
it's still mum's the word on
yeah.
Rates, huh?
Rates are a guarded secret, man. You'll almost never see anybody post what they charge online or anything like that. A lot of times it'll say contact my agent, contact my gallery, contact me personally if it's a smaller guy and he's handling his own stuff. If they do post their rates, then they know their shit. You know what I mean? It's kind of like either they just don't care at that point. They're comfortable with their job. They're selling their original art that's based off of whatever illustrations they're doing for a company, or they are just like, look, I'm charging this price, and I know that I'm at the high end of the range for where I am, so I'm not worried about looking bad to anybody else or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mum's the word. Same with tattooing. You never, I mean, you could Google me online and there's 7 or 8 different things that pop up about what I'm charging and nobody's even close. I heard he charged this. Somebody told me he charged that. And it's just how it is. I don't really know why that is. I just kind of did it because everybody else did it. I assume that's probably how it goes. They're like, nobody talks about this stuff, so I'm not going to.
That's one of those tattooing industry kind of norms.
Yeah,
we keep it all in direct
same
messages
as artists
or emails, texts.
Yeah, and I have had a couple clients say it's kind of annoying that they can't find out how much I charge when they're looking to get in. But to me, what I've learned, and this is, I guess, maybe because I have a little bit more of a reputation now, but